I'm breaking out, I'm breaking in. I just can't help this state I'm in. I'm on my way, y'all. So put your shades on, this light's so bright, it's blinding. I'm radiating love, I'm radiating love, I'm radiating love. Breaking free, I'm breaking ground. I can't explain this thing I found. The clouds have moved on. I got my groove on. This pep in my steps infectious. I'm radiating love. I'm radiating love. I'm radiating love. I've been stuck in a rut. I've been shit out of luck. I've been wondering what is up with me. And then I realized it's up to me to decide. I can just be radiating love. I'm radiating love. I'm radiating love. I'm radiating love.
Gave to me 10 minutes of meditation, 9 Rev Gary prayers, 8 affirmations, 7 new parishioners, 6 Facebook viewers, 5 Rev J talks, 4 more minutes of service, 3 bell tones, 2 Barbara Oatman songs, and another friggin' quote from Ernest Holmes. On the 11th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 11 faithful candles, 10 minutes of meditation, 9 Rev Gary prayers, 8 affirmations, 7 new parishioners, 6 Facebook viewers, 5 Rev J talks, 4 more minutes of service, 3 bell tones, 2 Barbara Oatman songs, and another friggin' quote from Ernest Holmes. On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 12 large donations, 11 faith-lit candles, 10 minutes of meditation, 9 Rev Gary prayers, 8 affirmations, 7 new parishioners, 6 Facebook viewers, 5 Rev J talks, 4 more minutes of service, 3 bell tones, 2 Barbara Oatman songs, and another friggin' quote by Ernest Holmes. Here's another friggin' quote by Ernest Holmes. Yay. Good morning. That was fun. Written by, rewritten new lyrics by Steve Apperson, the 12 Days of New Thought Christmas. And I thought, as we begin our holiday service, I would read a letter, one of the many Christmas letters from Ernest Holmes that he wrote himself. And he said, Christmas is for remembrance. The love manifested through our gifts to each other typifies the offer of life and the givingness of spirit to its creations. The hands of the eternal are outstretched through our hands, and the heart of the infinite beats in the human breast. But the giver must give of himself, for the gift without the giver is bare. It is not then in lavish gifts that we find true giving, but in the sweet simplicity of remembrance, in the kindly thought, the tolerant mind, and the gentle act. Love alone can give love. Sympathy alone can sympathize. And only goodness can really do or be good. The one who gives for reward does not give at all. He seeks to bargain, to trade for spiritual gifts. Hence, he senses a loss in his own giving and finds no completion through the act. But he who gives half his meat to the hungry feels justified and is warmed by a real sense of camaraderie. He has established an actual unity between himself or herself or theyself and other offspring of creation. Great causes succeed when there is a giving of humanity to humanity. With the check must come the one who wrote it, his interest, his enthusiasm, his love. The check must be a symbol of his desire to impart of himself. Then shall it multiply its benefits and do good. Charity is cold, but love is warm. When heart speaks to heart, the divine conversation has taken place, a heavenly discourse. Each of us has something to give. Let each see that he gives of his best. If we are bringing our gifts to the altar of love, nothing less than the best will be acceptable. Nothing less than all is enough. May the real spirit of Christmas, the giving of the self to life, enter and abide in you now and through all times. Sincerely, Ernest Holmes. So welcome everyone to our holiday service. You're going to see a lot more than me this morning. And we have everyone is participating this morning, all the leaders in our group. And we have a nice intimate group here in person. Yay, applaud for yourselves. And but of course, we want to go through our statement of principles. Even though this is a special holiday service, we want to make sure we remember why the New Thought Spiritual Center is here and why we all are here, because I think this is something we all can share in our lives. Our purpose statement is reveal the divinity in you. That's pretty much the purpose of life, is to reveal that divine self that is within each and every one of us into our lives today, and revealing that power that the law of cause and effect, or the law of attraction, or whatever you want to call that law, takes from our beliefs and brings forth into our experience. And as we live ourselves and reveal that authentic self, that divine self, we always have the access, but we have the intention and the supreme power to bring the experiences we desire into our lives. And our vision statement is to vibrate at the speed of the divine. And when we vibrate at the speed of the divine, we can't help but reveal the true authentic self, the divinity that is in us. You know, that divinity in us is always there, whether we want to show it or not. We have that power to bring dumb stuff into our life or great stuff into our life, and to respond to it. We can use that power to respond to it. If something negative shows up and we don't like it, we can step into vibrating at the speed of the divine and change that and adapt our lives from that. And of course, our mission statement, which is the way we do all this stuff, is to bust through, soar, and zoom. And of course, that has to do with whether this experience is fantastic and fabulous or not so fantastic and fabulous. We still want to bust through, soar, and zoom to something even greater. We are constantly upgrading, just like your computer. Constantly upgrading to the best in our lives, because that best in our lives keeps moving forward. And that's one of the joys and the fun things about living our lives here in this plane of action, as they say. So that's why we're here. That's the statement of principles for the New Thought Spiritual Center. And of course, we are going to step into a guided meditation this morning. And my beloved, as she takes her jacket off and comes in, is going to step up and lead that. I'm going to take a rose for myself. And so, my friends, PJ.
Thank you. Good morning. Okay, let's close our eyes.
Put a little music on behind you so I can start.
Close our eyes. Oh, sorry. Close our eyes and let's take a breath in. And then hold that breath for a second. And then a long, slow exhale. Ooh, that feels good. Let's do it again. Inhale. Hold that breath for a second. And then a long, slow exhale. And I want you to close your eyes and imagine the base of your spine. There's a chakra, the first chakra. And then from that first chakra, you're going to attach your grounding cord. Now that can look like anything you want it to look like. That can look like a tree or a waterfall or a bungee cord. So just use your fantastic imagination. And you are now tethered to the planet. You are part of the planet. So now you're secure. And let's take another breath in. Let's inhale. And then hold it for a second. And then long, slow exhale. Now I want you to put your awareness on the center of your head. Center of your head, that space right in between your eyebrows, between your eyebrows and your hairline. Right there, that's your seventh chakra. And I want you to be there in the center of your head. You know, a lot of times when you meditate, people say be in your heart. I want you to be in your head. Because we're going to manifest. We want to manifest from our head, from our brain heart. And then we want to let the grounding cord be like a garbage chute. Any energy that isn't ours, any little negative voices in our head goes down to the center of the planet. Thank you. Goes down into the center of the planet. This is a garbage chute, this grounding cord. Take another breath in. Exhale. Good. And then everybody have your rose out in front of you with one hand. And this rose is now attached. It has a grounding cord. It's attached to the planet. It's part of the planet. And I want you to make this rose bigger. I want you to close your eyes and visualize this rose bigger, because we're going to put something in it. We're going to put what you are individually manifesting. Your dream, your desire, that thing you deserve in that rose. And it can be a body that feels good, a healthy body. It could be a new home. It could be your play on Broadway, or whatever creative project, or the health of a loved one. Something you really, really desire. Make it maybe just something outrageous, something you would think that you could never manifest in this rose. See it. Be detail-oriented about how it looks and when it's coming in and how you want it to be and how joyous you are now that it is here. You might even have a little giggle about the fact that, woohoo, it's here. It's so exciting. And also have a color, you can change the color of this rose, This may not be your favorite color. You might want it to be purple. or orange. It is what you are manifesting. Take another breath in. Hold it for a second. And then exhale, let it go. Let it drop down that grounding cord. Any sort of negative little voice in your head that goes, nope, can't have that. Are you crazy? Who do you think you are? You can't have that. Visualize this thing that you're creating, that you're manifesting. This rose that is attached to the center of the planet. Maybe have a little giggle at it. Sometimes, a little meditation can get serious. That's one of the reasons I like all of you in here, because you all have a great sense of humor. And I learn from your beautiful sense of humor. All of you have a great giggle and a silliness about you. So add that to this thing that you're manifesting, your fantastic ability to make a joke and laugh at yourself and laugh at the fact that the universe can get kind of serious sometimes. Ha 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 ha. See, it works. It's contagious. I have good fake humor. I have a tendency to be a very serious person. I have to work at it. Okay, now we're going to take this rose that we're visualizing. You can do it to the one that's in your hand too if you want to. And I want you to send it out to the universe, because you're putting your order in. You're pulling up to the what is it, Burger King? You can have it your way. Mm-hmm. You're putting your order into the universe. So we're going to send this rose that we're visualizing, this thing that we're manifesting, a healthy body that feels good, a new house, this creative project that you're working on, whatever it is. We're going to send it out into the universe. And I mean really way out into the universe. I think we may even send it to the edge of the universe. And then we're going to let it come back. We're going to let it come back to us. We're going to let that thing that we're manifesting, once we've sent it out to the universe, we put our order in. Well, it's got to come back, It's got to come back, and it's got to come back and manifest into something that's real and tangible. Maybe put a date on it too. Take another breath in. Hold it for a second. And then a long, slow exhale. Maybe there's something that's coming up again, that little voice that says, nope, that's not going to work. Sorry, you can't have that. Let that release down your grounding cord. Let it release down the rose. The rose is attached to the center of earth. It has a grounding cord. Let it go down that grounding cord. And then I want you to believe that this thing is here in present time. It's already here. You know how happy you are that it's here. You can feel it in your hand. Take another breath in. And congratulations. You've manifested this fantastic thing. It is here in your life. And how happy you are. Maybe have a little smile at it. Go, I'm so clever. I'm so capable of creating whatever I want. Okay. Good. Now thank you. Open your eyes. Maybe call back your energy over your head. A little stretch. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, baby. Yay. That was nice. I'm going to let that tinkle along in the background. There's this great Christmas story that they used to play on NPR every year. I'm not sure if they still do.
beautiful story that I like to tell, and it's just called The Christmas Story. I think I'm going to sit down for this one. This is good. A little fireside chat kind of thing. Oh, I feel like I'm going to sing a ballad now. All right. So it goes like this. The day after Christmas, a number of years ago, I was driving down a country road in Texas. And it was a bitter cold morning. And walking ahead of me on the gravel road was a little barefooted boy with the nondescript ragged overalls and a makeshift sleeve sweater tied around his little ears. And I stopped and I picked him up. It looked like he was about 12 years old and his little feet were blue with the cold. He was carrying an orange and he got in and had the brightest blue eyes one ever saw. And he turned a bright smile on my face and he says, "I'm going down the road about 2 miles to my cousin's. I want to show him my orange old Santa Claus brought me." But I wasn't going to mention Christmas to him because I figured he came from a family, you know, the kind that don't have Christmas. But he brought it up himself. And then he said, "Did old Santa Claus come see you, mister?" And I said, "Yes, we had a real nice Christmas at our house, and I hope you had the same." He paused for a moment. He looked at me. And then with all the sincerity in the world said, "Mister, we had the wonderfulest Christmas in the whole United States down at our place. Lordy, it was the first one we ever had there. See, we never do have them out there much, don't notice much Christmas time coming. We heard about it, but never did have one because, well, you know, it's just, Papa says that old Santa Claus, Papa hurrahs a lot and said old Santa Claus was scared to bring his reindeer down into our section of the county because folks down there so hard up that they liable to catch one of his reindeer and butcher it for meat." But just several days before Christmas, a lady come out from town and she told all the families through there, that our family too, that they was, well, old Santa Claus was coming to town to leave some things for us. And if Papa'd go in town, he could get some. Now, Christmas time is for all of us. And Papa hooked up the mule and wagon and he went into town. But he told us children, he said, "Now, don't y'all get all worked up and excited because there might be nothing that to this yarn this lady told." But shucks, she hadn't gotten out of sight up there in that lane till there was done a watching for him to come back. We couldn't get our minds off of nothing else, you know. And Mama, she'd come to the door once in a while and says, "Now you all quit that looking up the lane because Papa told you there might not be nothing." But along about the middle of the afternoon, well, we heard the team of jangling harnesses a coming, and we ran out to the front yard, and Ernie, my little brother, he called out and he said, "Yonder come Papa." And here come them mules just in a big trot, you know, and Papa standing upright in the bed of the wagon holding 2 big old chickens, all the feathers picked off. And he was just yelling, "Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas." And the team stopped right in front of the gate. And all us children just went swarming out there like a flock of chickens, you know, and just crawling out over the wagon and looking in there and seeing what we could find. Mister, I wish you could have seen what was in that wagon. It was full of bags of striped candy and apples and oranges and sacks of flowers and some real coffee. And just all teensy and pretty, and you couldn't say nothing. We couldn't say nothing. It was so pretty. Just kind of held our breath and looked at it, you know. And Papa standing there just waving them 2 chickens and yelling, "Merry Christmas to you, Merry Christmas to you." And a laugh and that big old grin on his face. And Mama, she come hurrying out with the baby in her arms, you know. And when she looked at that wagon, she just kind of stopped. And Papa, He then dropped them 2 chickens and reached out and caught the baby out of her arms, and held him and said, "Merry Christmas to you, Santa Claus." And baby little old Ivy Lee, he just laughed like he knowed it was Christmas too, And Mama, she started telling us the name of all the nuts that Papa brought. They weren't just peanuts, she had names for all of them. See, Mama, she knows a whole heap of things like that. She'd seen that stuff before, And we was all of us just chattering and going on at the same time. Us youngins are looking in there, looking at all the fun stuff. And all of a sudden we heard Papa call out, "Oh, Merry Christmas to you, Sam Jackson." And we stopped and looked, and here comes Sam Jackson, leading that old cripple-legged mule of his up the lane. And Papa said, "Sam Jackson, did you get in town to get some of that Christmas this year?" And Sam Jackson, he shared crops over there across from the creek from our place, and he shook his head and he said, "Well, no, sir, mister. Well, I didn't go in town. I heard about that, but I didn't know it was for colored folks too. I thought it was just for you white families." And all of a sudden, none of us children were saying nothing. Papa, he looked down at Mama, and Mama looked up at him, and they didn't say nothing, like they don't a heap of times, but they know what each other's thinking. They're like that, and well, then all of a sudden, Papa, he broke out in a big grin again, and he said, "Dad, blaming Sam Jackson, it's sure a good thing you come by here. Lord have mercy, I like to forget. Old Santa Claus would have me in court if he heard about this. The last thing he asked me if I lived out near you. He said he hadn't seen you around and said he wanted me to bring part of this out here to you and your family, your woman and your children." Well, Sir Sam Jackson, he broke out in a big grin, and Papa says, "I'll tell you what to do. You go get your wife and children. You come down here tomorrow morning. It's going to be Christmas time all day long. Come here early, stay late." And Sam Jackson said, "You reckon?" And Mama called out to him and said, "Yes, and you tell your wife to be sure and bring some pots and pans because we're going to have a heap of cooking to do, and I ain't sure I got enough to take care of all of it." Well, sir, old Sam Jackson, he started off leading that mule up the lane in a full trot, and he was heading home to get the word to his folks and his children, And next morning, it's just, you remember how it was yesterday morning, just rosy red and looked like Christmas time. It was cold, but you didn't notice the cold, when the sun just comes up and it's just all rosy red. And us youngins were all out of bed before daylight, seemed like, just running in the kitchen and smelling and looking. And it was all there, sure enough. And then here comes Sam Jackson and his team and his wife and his 5 youngins and in there, and they's all looking over the edge, and we run out and yell, "Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas." And Papa said, "Christmas gift to you, Sam Jackson. Y'all come in." And they come in, and Mom and Sister Jackson, they got in the kitchen. They started cooking, and us youngins start playing Christmas time, and it's a lot of fun, Christmas time. We just play Christmas gift with one another and run around in the house, and then go outside and roll in the dirt, and then we start playing go up to the kitchen door and smell. Did you ever play go up to the kitchen door and smell? And we'd run up and smell inside the kitchen door where Mama and Sister Jackson was cooking at, and then we just die laughing and roll in the dirt, and go chasing around and playing Christmas gift and all. And we just played Christmas time till we just swore ourselves out. Pop and Sam Jackson, they put a table up and put some sheets over it, some boards up over some sawhorses, and everybody had a place, even the baby. And Mom and Sister Jackson said, they come out the house and they said, "Well, now it's ready to come on in. We're going to have Christmas time dinner." And I sit right next to Willie Jackson, and he just rolled his eyes at me, and I'd roll my eyes at him, and we just died laughing, and there was an apple and an orange and some striped candy at everybody's place. And that was just dessert, see? That wasn't the real Christmas dinner. Mama and them had done cooked that up, and they just had it spread out up and down the table. And so Papa and Sam Jackson, they'd be sitting out on the front porch, and they'd come in. And Papa, he sat at one end of the table, and Sam Jackson sit at the other, and it's just a beautiful table, like you never had seen before. And I didn't know nothing could ever look like that and smell that good, you know? And Sam Jackson, he had on white, super white, clean shirt of his and them overalls he always wears. And everybody been washed up and real clean. Papa said, Brother Jackson, I believe you're a deacon in the church. I ain't much of a church man myself, but I believe you're a deacon, so maybe you'd be willing to give grace. Well, Sam Jackson, he stood up there, and his hands, real big hands. He's got real big hands. He kind of held on to the side of the table, you know. He didn't bow his head like a heap of folks do when they're saying their blessing. He just looked up and smiled. And he said, Lord, I hope you're having a nice Christmas up there with your angels as we're having down here, because it sure is Christmas time down here. And I just wanted to say, Merry Christmas to you, Lord. Like I said, mister, I believe that was the wonderfulest Christmas in this whole United States. Well, I want us to all sing together right now. So if you look at your song lyrics in the second song there, we're going to sing the Christmas song that was written by Robert Wells and Mel Tormey. And let me pop this up on here. Our friends are going to come and join us. And I'll get this music going. Okay. Here we go. Everybody together. Here we go. Chestnuts roasting
on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe helps to make the season bright. Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They know that Santa's on his way. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh. And every mother's child is gonna spy to see reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering this simple praise to kids from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you.
Let's hold for a second and know that in this holiday time, no matter what holiday you have or will celebrate this December time, that it brings into your life peace and joy and love, family and friends, bringing in your community with peace and love, and also our country and this world. And so I'm offering this simple phrase to kids from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you. Yeah. Merry Christmas. So next we have Matt stopping. So next we have Mel Tormey coming himself from the beyond. I was fortunate to be able to hear him live sing that song once. PJ too, yeah. Oh, so beautiful. So next, I have Rev Gary here. Come on, step on up wherever. Would you like to be here or there? Okay.
Good. All
Okay,
right.
there you
Thanks,
go.
Jay. Okay.
Atta.
All right. Good morning, everyone. And I just love this time of year. You know, in this time of year, there's an opening in consciousness to allow peace into our lives, to allow love to show up in our lives. I think even in a bigger way than any other time of the year, there's an opening for that. Maybe even an opening for world peace. Hey, nothing's impossible. Nothing's impossible at all. Don't reindeer fly at this time of the year?
Yeah.
An incredibly big man in a red suit goes down a very thin chimney and leaves gifts. And I think Angel Gabriel said it the best when she approached Mary and said that he would give birth to a son named Jesus. And she's like, whoa, that's impossible. But he finished his words and said, for with God, nothing will be impossible. And another example of that is peace broke through even during war. In 1914, during World War I, it's a pretty famous story. A group of German and British troops along the Belgian and French border put down their weapons and held an unofficial ceasefire that Christmas Eve. They sang carols across the trenches. And on Christmas Day, some were even brave enough to rise out of their trenches and walk into no man's land and greet their enemies in person. So indeed, nothing really is impossible. For with God, nothing will be impossible. And we are always one with that God that is right within us wherever we're at. And I think I'd like to share this poem by Maya Angelou, who describes this opening for peace in these words in her poem, Amazing Peace, a Christmas Poem. She writes, thunder rumbles in the mountain passes, and lightning rattles the eaves of our houses. Floodwaters await us in our avenues. Snow falls upon snow, falls upon to snow to avalanches. Over our unprotected villages, the sky slips low and gray and threatening. We question ourselves, what have we done to so affront nature? We worry, God. Are you there? Are you there really? Does the covenant you made with us still hold? Into this climate of fear and apprehension, Christmas enters. Streaming lights of joy, ringing bells of hope, and singing carols of forgiveness high up in the bright air. The world is encouraged to come away from rancor, come the way of friendship. It is the glad season. Thunder ebbs to silence and lightning sleeps quietly in the corner. Floodwaters recede into memory. Snow becomes a yielding cushion to aid us as we make our way to higher ground. Hope is born again in the faces of children. It rides on the shoulders of our ages as they walk into their sunsets. Hope spreads around the earth, brightening all things, even hate, which crouches breeding in dark corridors. In our joy, we think we hear a whisper. At first, it is too soft, then only half heard. We listen carefully as it gathers strength. We hear a sweetness. The word is peace. It is loud now. It is louder than explosions of bombs. We tremble at the sound. We are thrilled by its presence. It is what we have hungered for, not just the absence of war, but true peace. A harmony of spirit, a comfort of courtesies, security for our beloveds and their beloveds. We clap our hands and welcome the peace of Christmas. We beckon this good season to wait a while with us. We Baptist, Buddhist, Methodist, and Muslim say, come peace, come and fill us and our world with your majesty. We, the Jew and the Jainist, the Catholic and the Confucian, implore you to stay with us, so we may learn by your shimmering light how to look beyond complexion and see community. It is Christmas time, a halting of hate time. On this platform of peace, we can create a language to translate ourselves to ourselves and each other. At this holy instant, we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ into the great religions of the world. We jubilate this precious advent of trust. We shout with glorious tongues at the coming of hope. All the earth's tribes loosen their voices to celebrate the promise of peace. We angels and mortals, believers and non-believers, look heavenward and speak the word aloud, peace. We look at our world and speak the word aloud, peace. We look at each other, then into ourselves, and we say without shyness or apology or hesitation, peace, my brother, peace, my sister, peace, my soul. Namaste.
Next.
Next and next. Here we go. Steve to come up. No, not me. There you are.
Your mic is all hot.
All right.
All right.
I think we're ready.
Are we? Oh, one thing I didn't do.
Wait, what didn't you do? Okay. There we go. Okay.
All right. I
Hello.
hope everybody's having fun as much as we are.
I know, right?
Happy Christmas, Lovey.
Happy Christmas, honey.
And so this is Christmas. And what have you done? Another year over, and a new one just begun. And so happy Christmas, and I hope you have fun. The near and the dear ones, and the old and the young.
And a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's make it a good one without any fear.
Fear? You know, there is no fear here in the New Thought Spiritual Center, right?
We try to avoid that at all
Yeah,
costs.
there's no fear at all right now. You did get your booster?
Not yet.
Ooh.
But I do believe it's a good idea.
Well, I think it's a good idea to believe in something, and Christmas requires believing,
That's true.
right? I mean, come on, look at all the decorations and all the lights we put
Well,
up.
I know all the music and the movies we watch.
Santa Claus and the traditions. And you know,
this is that time of year in which people can afford to be a lot nicer to each other, right? Okay. Imagine if you celebrated life like you celebrated Christmas. How would you decorate that?
I think we
Be
should
a
be
lot of
festive
sweaters.
all year long.
Oh, well, that's kind of one of our main objectives here at the New Thought Spiritual Center is to be spiritually festive.
Spiritually festive, yes,
Yes.
definitely.
And so this is Christmas for a weekend for strong, rich and the poor ones, and the road is so long.
There does seem to be a lot of disparity in the world right now. That's something that we can all know the truth about, though, together, right? That this state of affairs, that we don't have to be so separate, feel so separate from each other, that can end. That we can live together in a more humane and civilized way. I think that's what Science of Mind is really all about, knowing that the universe is always actually conspiring for our good, if we believe in it. And I think that is what Christmas should remind us of, believing.
So happy Christmas, and for black and for white, the dear and the dear one, and let's stop all the fight. All right, I know these lyrics are a little updated, right? I mean, they're over 50 years old, but what if we take these shades and these colors and we look them as people's auras, as their vibrations and their attitudes? I mean, we've all been forced to deal with people looking at things in black and white.
Right.
And we're in a current state of affairs where there's opinions that are very red and blue, right? And yellow, well, those people usually need antibiotics. Jaundice runs in the family, love you, but no one's ever called me yeller.
Oh, thank goodness. What about brown?
Hey, that's just all our folks at UPS.
Oh, that's true. Well, there are people, though, that do feel left out, or they feel victimized, or just at a loss, and they need healing, And I think the best path toward healing is through or with love, being able to give love, but also being open to receiving it. So I think this Christmas I am going to recommit to being more loving and to accepting all the love that comes my way.
All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love, yeah. Love is all you need. Everybody. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love, love. Love is all you need. Have a freaking Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, so fun. So fun. Our own Elaine May and wow, that was fun. Thanks. Oh, thank you. So now we're going to step into our affirmative incantation for the week. Don't think I didn't forget that. It's on the last page. For those online, it'll pop up in a moment. But for those in person here, we have it in our sheet lyrics there. So let me explain once again what we do with our affirmative incantation. This is something that we say every morning once we get up, whether it's first or second, I don't know. Once we get up, we start our day this way. We start our day with these words, these ideas, and then let us float through the day with this in our heads and our hearts. And then before you go to sleep, your mind is resting, it's refreshing, but it's also active. Things are going on, and it's a great time for your subconscious to be taught a few things instead of just going on its own. So when we say this right before we go to sleep, we put these ideas into our mind while we're sleeping, and they kind of go into our subconscious, and you'll be amazed after a few days of doing this. Your attitude's a little different, your perspective's a little different, and you just feel a little upgraded. You feel a little smarter. You feel a little more capable of stuff that goes on around you. So for this week, here is our affirmative incantation. For those of you in person, we can say this together. For those of you online, it'll be right in front of you any moment. Here we go. Merrily I roll along into a day filled with inspiration, imagination, and wonder. Divine light illuminates my path of prosperity and clears the way for my success to flow. Speaking my word, I tap into the vast knowledge of the universe and put into action all that it suggests. I was born with the gift of greatness, and I shall present that greatness today. Twice a day. Have at it. And so now, before I bring up Reverend Barbara's going to speak a little bit, and we have a special song from Reverend Barbara today as well. I want to go ahead and do our love offering portion of the service instead of later on, right before we leave. So those online will see the video any second now. Let us place our hands on our hearts and together declare our love offering blessing. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of my spiritual center, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. Amen. Hallelujah. Thank you for your blessed love offerings. Okay, so we're back. Welcome back. Thank you all once again for your love offerings this morning. And I am happy now to bring you Reverend Barbara Altman to give us some words of wisdom.
Thank you. So, before there was Christmas, there was winter solstice, also known as Yule, and that's one of the oldest winter celebrations in the world. Yule simultaneously celebrates the shortest day of the year, midwinter, and the return of the sun, a festival of rebirth. And this year it occurs from December 21st to January 1st. Whoop, hello. Yule marks the point at which the sun begins its return, when the days grow longer. And for people throughout history, this has been a time of feasting and celebration. Ancient people were hunters and gatherers, so they spent most of their time outdoors, and the seasons and weather played a very important part in their lives. And because of this, many ancient people had a great reverence for the sun. The Norsemen of Northern Europe
saw the sun as a wheel that revolved the seasons. And this word for wheel, hool, is thought to be the origin of the word Yule. Yeah. At midwinter, the Norsemen lit bonfires, told stories, drank sweet ale. And in pagan times, the Druids gave mistletoe, which commonly grows on oak trees, which they held as sacred, as a blessing to symbolize life. Now, the Yule log also dates to this time. And the Celts thought that the sun stood still for 12 days during the darkest time of the year, and they would light logs to keep away evil and welcome in good fortune. The ancient Romans also held a festival to celebrate the rebirth of the year. Saturnalia ran for 7 days from the 17th of December, and it was a time when the ordinary rules were turned upside down and reversed. Men dressed as women and masters dressed as servants. The festival also involved decorating houses with greenery, lighting candles, holding processions, partying, and giving presents. Sounds familiar, right? And some traditions surrounding Father Christmas also predate Christianity. His sleigh pulled by reindeer is left over from Scandinavian mythology. And the practice of leaving cookies, or I guess in some cultures, mince pies, and a glass of milk or brandy for him on Christmas Eve may be a remnant of pagan offerings made to mark the end of winter and the coming of spring. So winter solstice is a celebration of the upcoming return of the sun, but it's also the darkest time of the year. So Yule is both a time of celebration and a time of reflection. When the light is not so apparent without, we get to create light wherever we can, and we can also take this time to reconnect to that light within ourselves. We can go within and enjoy that interiority. We can listen to and hear our own soul's voice. It's a time for gentleness. Gary was talking about it's a time for peace, for healing, and for regeneration. And I would like to share this reading by John O'Donohue for one of my favorite books, Anam Cara. And he wrote, "The world rests in the night. Trees, mountains, fields, and faces are released from the prison of shape and the burden of exposure. Each thing creeps back into its own nature within the shelter of the dark. Darkness is the ancient womb. Nighttime is womb time. Our souls come out to play. The darkness absolves everything. The struggle for identity and impression falls away. We rest in the night." So, as the outside world is at its darkest and the nights at their longest, Yule gives space for our intuition to expand and come forth. A time to bring in new visions and ideas, to make resolutions for the year ahead, and to dream bold dreams.
Yeah. Barbara's gonna stick around. She's gonna move over to the center for a second, and I'm gonna set up the band. Thank you. That's so true. Set up the band. There it is. Okay. So before we close this morning, let us do an affirmative prayer together. So if you could please close your eyes or put your eyes at a soft focus and take a deep breath together as one and let it out. Let us know together in this moment the power and presence of the universe, that which has and continues to create everything, is a creative force that is within each and every one of us, and we get to use that force right here and right now. So I speak for that force that is within each and every one of us, that peaceful, divine, intelligent, loving force, power, energy that is illuminating itself as itself in each one of us. The self-givingness of spirit is alive right here, right now. And so I declare for each and every one of us to reveal that spirit in every thought and every feeling, in our imagination, in our wonderment, even when we're sitting around watching Netflix. The beauty and love and intelligence and grace of that presence informs us at every moment, informs us about living in peace, about living in love with life, about living knowing our intelligence, our heart brain, our gut brain informs us of the most inspiring thoughts and ideas to have and to hold and to be in our lives. And that is a power that we touch now and now and now and forevermore. A power of love and grace, a power that reveals into our lives that which we have decided to have. We have the have consciousness of prosperity. We have the have consciousness of healing anything in our minds or our bodies or our countries. We step through any junk in our lives. We step through it knowing that we have the power, the intelligence, and the love to bring forth what needs to be brought forth, to rid any negative condition. It is gone because we know and we live and we be that loving divine power. So it is this moment that anything that was in the way, we have regenerated our divine authority to step through that and be the power, live the power, know the power. You, I, all of us are powerful beings bringing our divine love into our lives right here and now, no matter if it's a holiday or not. On the calendar, it's a holiday in our lives to celebrate life. And so I release this word, knowing it goes to a universe that says, yes, right now, here it comes. Open your arms, open your heart. Love is here. So with grace and appreciation and gratitude, I release this word as together we say, and so it is.
When I'm worried and I can't sleep, I count my blessings instead of sheep, and I fall asleep counting my blessings. When my bankroll is getting small, I think of when I had none at all, and I fall asleep counting my blessings. I think about a nursery and I picture curly heads, and one by one I count them as they slumber in their beds. So if you're worried and you can't sleep, just count your blessings instead of sheep, and you'll fall asleep counting your blessings.
Before Barbara sings the final verse, I just want to wish everyone a happy holiday, whatever holiday you are celebrating or have celebrated. We love that all of you are here in person and all of you out there. Be blessed because you are blessed. Thank you so much. We love you, blessed ones. Namaste.
You're instrumental.
So I can say more.
You can.
Because I hope that I hope Santa Claus comes to your house. And don't leave brandy, because then he may not show up at my house
Here we go.
by the time he gets to the West Coast. Here's Barbara.
I think about a nursery and I picture curly heads. And one by one I count them as they slumber in their beds. If you're worried and you can't sleep, just count your blessings instead of sheep, and you'll fall asleep counting your blessings.
Once again, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Namaste, everyone.